BBC Radio York.
Now, as you've heard in Georgie this morning and also Nick in the news at 5 o'clock, it's your last chance today to vote online for Pateley Bridge in the Great British High Street Awards. They're against somewhere else called Somerset and Cumbria or something like that. But Pateley Bridge is the name you need to remember. You can vote each day and every day for them to win the village category. More importantly, though, the vote does end tonight, so make sure you do register your vote. 50% is on public vote, 50% on judges' marks. Think Strictly and Ed Balls. Well, perhaps not. Pateley Bridge are currently leading the vote in the Best Village category, and Andrew Percy is the High Street Minister. And earlier I asked him why the High Street is important to our economy.
I think they are the place where communities like to come together. They're where we access services, whether we get our hair cut there, go to the dentist or go shopping. It's where we socialise, with all the advent of coffee shops. We've seen big growth of that, restaurants. People, come together in high streets and, live our daily lives. Much of what we do in our lives happens on a high street.
But it's tough in retail at the moment, isn't it? It's tough on the high streets. Big names like BHS no longer being a feature.
I think it has been hard for a number of these big chains, but actually what we've seen on the high street is an increase in footfall. It was at 1.1% in August, and that's broadly actually it's been up quite strongly since the Brexit vote. And we're seeing more and more people returning to the high street. And often when you get the offer right, people will come back in. We've got more people living in the city centres, which has given a new vibrancy to many of our town centres. So it's difficult for a number of retailers as people's shopping habits change. But there are also examples of where shops and high streets are getting it right.
Do you think other big names will go?
Look, it's not for me to speculate on that. I think, that depends on how, individually they're doing from a business point of view, of course. But, what we are definitely seeing is, very vibrant high streets in many of our communities and the offer changing as well. People perhaps shop a little less on some of our high streets, but they come and do different things on the high street. So they're, as I said, whether it's for food offer and, cafes, coffee shops, people are doing different things in high streets. And, our high streets have changed before and they're changing again now to match customer demand.
Other than these awards, what help are you as a minister offering our high streets?
Well, look, we've done an awful lot by setting up high street teams across the country. We've just given a massive business rate reduction to many of our smaller retailers. 600,000 of them are now paying small businesses paying no business rates at all. And of course, in a lot of areas, local councils have been helping. In my own area in North Lincolnshire, the local council has introduced free parking. So there's a lot we have done, can do and are continuing to do to support them. But obviously helping on business rates is a massive help for many retailers.
Let's talk a bit about Pateley Bridge then, because they're doing really well, topping the votes at the moment. Does that mean that they win, or do the judges have a role in this?
Well, it's 50% public vote, so it's really important people in North Yorkshire get online before midnight tonight at the greatbritishhighstreet.co.uk and vote for Pateley Bridge in the village category. So, get out there and do that. But actually the other 50% is based on the judges' votes. The judges visited recently. They had a tour on a 1940s bus. Local school children sang to them a song, I Love My High Street, which is very fitting. And they were, I think, very, very impressed with what they saw in Pateley Bridge. So I think Pateley Bridge is a very strong candidate if we can just get a few more people voting for them.
Part judges' vote, part popular vote. Ed Balls and Strictly springs to mind.
Right, yes. Well, I don't think we want to reference Ed Balls in the context of Pateley Bridge, but it is very much about public votes.
Have you ever been to Pateley Bridge?
I have been to Pateley Bridge. I've been to Pateley Bridge as a kid a number of times when we used to go do our holiday, and we used to go camping around various parts of North Yorkshire. I'm only up the road, of course, in East Yorkshire.
But not as a minister?
I haven't been as a minister because there are an awful lot of towns and villages across the north of England I haven't yet been able to visit. But hopefully, if enough people get online and vote, if they win, I will definitely be making a visit to Pateley Bridge. So,
well, you must come up and you see Bishy Road, because they won last time, and Helmsley won last time as well.
I know Bishy Road very well. I mean, my constituency is only about 15, 18 miles away, and I used to live in York as a student, so I know Bishy Road very well. And actually winning the competition has done a great job for them. I'm just wondering though if my threat of offering to visit might just cost a few votes. So maybe we'll have a vote on whether I come and visit if they win separately to that.
What does the winner get in practical help?
Well, there is an overall, there's £100,000 prize pot, £10,000 for the overall winner, and Bishy Road, of course, use that to develop an app with Newcastle University. They can use it for whatever they want, so whether it's putting on events, festivals, whatever the winning high street decides. And then in addition to that, they get support and advice from Google and Twitter about obviously how they can take their retail offer and their high street offer online and to make it digital. So there's some practical support, and of course there's a nice prize pot which can be spent.
I guess what we really hope for is that our high streets are all different, don't we? The danger is you get everything homogenised, and you want lots of independent shops.
We do. Well, we want a really nice mix, actually, because, independent shops are brilliant. They often have a unique offer. But, of course, people want their chain stores as well. I mean, you have to think of, the coffee shops. People want their particular chain of coffee shop because they're very popular and being used, but they also want, the local coffee shop offer as well. And the same goes for retail. So I think people want a mix. And I think that's where high streets are the most successful, is where there's a strong mix of, national chains and independents mixed with actually people living in the downtown, in the city centre, village centre area. And of course, if governments and councils make it easy for people to get into the high street in the first place.
Do you think the high street can live in the 21st century with online competition?
I think they can. I mean, a lot of high streets are proving very definitely they can do that, and that they absolutely have been able to diversify. And many have embraced online. So you now see some really successful retailers who still have their shop fronts, but also have a really active online offer as well.
That's Andrew Percy. He's the Government Minister for High Streets. You can still vote for free via the greatbritishhighstreet.co.uk. So the Great British High Street is all one word, .co.uk to register your vote for Pateley Bridge.